Namaste, dear ones. Welcome to Urban Oracle. I'm Neen Puliano. I am the owner of Urban Oracle. I am a creative palmist and the creator of the Puliano Palmistry Method, also known as PPM. But today I'm here to talk to you about the little known facts regarding palmistry. For those of you who would never consider getting your palm read, it sounds too woo-woo and out there for you. I'm hoping that with just these few little facts, I might change your mind as to the benefits, the many benefits that palmistry can provide you and how empowering a palm reading can actually be for you and your future. Knowing is power, right? Knowledge is power. So here's a few fun facts about palmistry that you might not know. So, one is that palmistry, even though it's still an esoteric art, it has moved out of mysticism. It's still in mysticism, but in addition to being in that place, in that woo-woo wonderful place that I think is wonderful, it's now considered an actual science. Yes, palmistry is now considered hand analysis. It's now considered a science and moved into the science realm. So scientists have had centuries worth of data to study, and they've come to the conclusion that there is absolutely correlations between the lines on your hand that correspond to your medical and health history and projected health issues, as well as your psychological health, your personality traits, and they've been linking it to actual events in your life as well. So it's moved out of mysticism and into the field of science, which is super cool for those of you who don't gravitate towards the woo-woo. Okay? It means that palmistry is still for you. It's now in the field of science. So that's one cool thing that's news to most people. As medical advances and psychological advances are being made, palmistry too is being updated on a regular basis. Super cool. All right. So another little known thing about palmistry is that an ink print hand analysis of your palm for a palm reading versus looking at it, looking at your naked hand, will only, without doing an ink print hand analysis, it's only capturing about 5% of what's actually there. You can use a magnifying glass to capture key points on the naked hand, but it's more difficult to get an overall picture of everything going on. Okay, and it also makes the results that you get afterwards a little less obtainable because they're focusing on this instead of writing and typing out what's there. So an ink print of your palm will show you so much. It'll show you all the lines and all these little tiny minute details that are very hard to see with the naked eye. So ink print palm analysis is what we recommend for getting your palm read and studied. It really does capture everything there. And also, people are born with this blueprint on their hand, on their non-dominant hand. There is this blueprint that's printed onto your hand. So from the moment you're born, there's lines on your palm, and they are the blueprint of kind of essentially that make up you, whether you're creative, whether you have certain qualities about you, if you're warm and generous, or if you're kind of a selfish, ego-driven, materialistic person, things like that. These little blueprint features of you are going to be imprinted on your non-dominant hand. Your dominant hand, however, is going to be riddled with many, many, many more lines on your hand. Your dominant hand is a reflection of all of your choices you have made in your life that have led to very specific outcomes and very specific events and very specific veers in your path where you might have changed directions completely. It holds all of your traumas and triggers. It holds your future events. Like, the dominant hand is the one that holds all the juicy bits. Okay, so this makes my advocate side, my activist side for women's rights, buzz a bit upon learning that some cultures will only read a woman's left hand, and for men, they'll only read their right. I can be an advocate too for men who are it's their left hand that's their dominant hand, and in their culture their right hand's the only one being read. But for women specifically, where with patriarchy everywhere, it's frustrating to me to hear that some cultures will only read a woman's left because if they are a right-handed woman. I'm not speaking to women who love their place in life, who live in such cultures and they think they have plenty of rights and they don't feel voiceless at all. But to those of them, those of you who do feel voiceless, or if you are frustrated with your place in the world, or if you feel like your rights are being infringed upon, or you would like to be treated more equitably or have more opportunity, I am speaking to you. And I want to help. I absolutely want to show up for you and support you. So it's interesting to learn that other cultures approach palmistry in different ways. If you're only reading, so if your dominant hand is your right hand and your culture will only read your left, that is a huge testament to patriarchy, because the blueprint of your hand is only showing you this base foundation. It's basically saying that we're not going to tell you about all the choices that are available to you, because those are going to be on your dominant hand. It's really interesting to hear that and to learn that. I might not have the full story. Maybe I don't have all the facts, and that's absolutely a possibility. And I'm not trying to be offensive, but if there is something going on where women are being limited in learning the true options that are accessible to them to make choices that will empower them and further their life in a better way, where they can feel stronger, more in their power, then I have to speak up and say, I'd like to support you. If I can, please connect with me and let's do this. Okay. Reading both hands is important, as what is on your passive hand can show you certain attributes and talents you might have that if they're not reflected on your dominant hand, it could be an indicator that you're not living your fullest potential. You're not stepping into your fullest potential. So it's nice to have a capture of both. But the dominant hand really does play an important role into discovering the tidbits about your hand. So, for those of you who don't get your dominant hand read, please reach out to me. I absolutely want to help you and support you in finding out where your gifts are, what things will lie ahead for you, and if you can make some interesting choices that will change the outcome of what's in store for you. Now, another very uncommon thing that people do not know about palmistry is that the past events in your life, the lines on your hand, so the four major lines on your hand, your fate line, your lifeline, your heart line, and your head line, 3 of those lines can absolutely have a time gauge on them, meaning that we can time the line out so that we know exactly what age you were when these little patterns and squiggles and indicators fall on that line. We can say like, oh, when you were 15, you had a very traumatic event that had to do with your head. And they'll be like, yeah, what the crap? So we can time those particular lines out. The heart line, that's up for debate. Some palmists say it can be timed, other ones say it totally can't. Palmists don't agree on the direction that the line flows. So at Urban Oracle, we say the heart line is not an accurate line to time gauge, but it can still show you some information about your emotions and how you relate to others. It can speak to your heart and your emotions. Okay, so timed events. All the events that happened in your past, according to the time gauge on each of those 3 major lines, all of the past events, those lines on your palm will never change. Like, As soon as that event happens, that line is going to stay the same length, the same depth, and the same placement on your hand for the rest of your life. Future events, however, that are on your palm, events that according to your time gauge have not occurred yet given your present age, until those particular lines that are waiting for you to happen, those lines will continue to change. They will shrink, some will disappear, you'll gain new lines, some lines will deepen, some lines will change directions and paths. You'll get entirely new patterns on your hand, completely based off of the choices you make between your present self and when that event is said likely to occur. Amazing. Okay. So, from the references that I have seen, the lines on your palm can change in as little as 3 months. That's the earliest reference I found so far. If they can happen even sooner than that, that's incredible. 3 months to me is still pretty fast. So why is that awesome and valuable is that if you don't like an outcome that's spoken, that's given reference to in your palm reading, you now have this information where you can plan ahead and make different choices that will change the outcome of your future. It's giving you the wisdom and the tools in advance to make different choices in your life to produce a different outcome, a more favorable outcome. So wouldn't you want to know if you have a major health scare coming at a certain age, and we can tell you exactly what bodily system is affected by it, whether it's cardiovascular, skeletal, your brain? Wouldn't you want to know that well in advance so you can start making health choices, different health choices now to safeguard your future? Wouldn't you want to know if you are going to quit your job and move out of country at a certain point? Wouldn't that either take away some stress or help you plan your work schedule and the projects you take on a little differently? Would it affect how you relate to maybe your family or securing certain communications before you embark on this grand journey that's going to completely change your life? Things like that, of that nature. Would you want to know if your marriage is going to end? Likely. That might change how you interact in your relationship. If you want to remain with that partner, it might change how you connect with them, how you show up in your relationship, how you actively participate in that relationship. So, knowledge is power. There is much that can be shared and discussed in the lines of your palm. And there's so much good information there, so much empowering information to share with you. So please reach out to us if you're interested in a Pooliana palmistry session. If you go to our website at www.urbanoracle.com, that's HERBNORACLE.com, you can click on our palmistry sessions page, and that will not only give you details about how to schedule a palmistry session with us. If you're out of state, we have a video for out-of-state and international clients about how to ink your own hand. It's a step-by-step video to ink your own hand and the process that we ask you go through to get reimbursed for your ink and your roller. We have guidelines for that and how to send us or email us your ink print. That webpage, the palmistry session page, also shows you what the PPM results look like. They're super unique and artistic, and they're so awesome compared to other results that you might get from a different palmist. So please check out that cool video preview of the PPM method. We'd love to get your feedback on that, and we hope to work with each of you very soon. Namaste, dear ones, and thanks for visiting Urban Oracle.